Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stuart Vaughan, and welcome to episode 3 of the newly named Football Unplugged podcast. And yes, obviously, this is going to be a big one. Obviously, in this episode, I'm going to do 5 of my kind of big predictions for this new Premier League season. Obviously, tonight it kicks off with Arsenal, the defending champions, going against newly promoted Coventry City. That I actually might watch. It should be really good. But obviously, I've done my big kind of prediction stuff on my other podcast, obviously with the Arcade Football podcast. Put a link below. We put all from who we think's gonna from 20th to who's gonna win it, and so if you check that out, that'd be awesome. But obviously in this one, I'm just gonna do like a quick 5 of the big predictions that I think are gonna happen in this season. So please like and subscribe and follow this podcast because definitely going to be a season where I'm going to definitely dive into a lot of the big topics of this season. So make sure you don't miss anything from myself and many others at the Football Unplugged community on Substack. Again, link down below. But that's kick off with my first big prediction, and I don't think it's really a shock because a lot of people have put this, but I'm going to put that all 3 of the promoter sides will go down this season. I think it's again, it seems like a really rubbish thing because obviously they went down 2 years ago. Obviously, I put them down last season to all go down, but obviously only one went down. So that was a nice change of pace. But this season, it seems like the same problems as last time. As other teams, if you've got Hull City, a side that's kind of lacking in quality, probably a different dynamic. I think. Obviously, they've got that McBurdy, if I pronounce that correctly, and obviously scored the goal that obviously got them into the Premier League in that playoff final. But it seems like a team that would struggle if they went down behind. And because obviously if they're a team that can kind of hold out, got a good defensive unit, then they're going to be a tough nut to crack. But I think when they do crack, I don't think they have a second option, or if they're like their top strikers isolated, I think that's going to be a problem. The quality isn't there really. They're playing some good signings. I think getting Buckland from Rangers was a good shout. Obviously, I'm not sure if he's injury prone. I'm not quite sure about that. But yeah, so I think it's a good again. And you could sit there and say, if you want to be a bit an optimist, saying Sunderland were picked to be bottom, and obviously we saw what happened there. So maybe they're seeing a template there, maybe a start of football, because it was kind of similar to what they did last season. Very tough nut to crack, and obviously hit on the break. Maybe that's what they're going to try and do here. So don't be surprised if they're wrong with this one. But from what I've seen, what they've signed, they haven't seen anyone that's like really kind of makes you stand out. So I think they're going to finish bottom. Obviously, we've got to talk about Ipswich Town. Obviously, back after one season away. Obviously, new manager with Gary O'Neill after returning after being sacked by Bournemouth all those years ago. That feels like that was quite funny when you think about it was decided as a bad. We all baffled, and just a little known coach like Iwaiola took over, and the rest is history. So, it's one of those things. But Ipswich is an interesting one because obviously McKenna left. Very strange decision, in my opinion. Obviously, Gary Neal has done it all. He obviously has got experience keeping teams up. Obviously, did keep that Bournemouth side up. So he has that experience. Again, I think they've bought well. They've got that young Brazilian striker, 21-year-old they got from Toulouse. Looks quite good. I'm excited to see how that goes out. But I think, again, putting a 21-year-old to get the goals, I think they're going to be a tough, again, similar kind of pragmatic approach to Hull. Obviously, Gary Neal's what he kind of plays. It's not going to be fun football, but it might be enough to maybe put them on a challenge. But again, it's an unknown. I've never seen all the signings you go, wow, they're going to stay up. So again, would like to be wrong about this one, but yeah, I think Ipswich, and obviously Coventry, Frank Lampard's kind of Coventry again. Another as much as you think Frank has got experience keeping, I think, Everton at one time, so he has got that, and he's managed obviously Chelsea and that kind of stuff. So he has that twice, as you say. So he does have that pedigree in the top flight. So, and obviously how they blitzed the kind of championship last season. It's going to be interesting to see if they can take that. They were very kind of high, very risk averse, very kind of high energy team. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Obviously, they have a very high pressing kind of situation, so they're going to be a bit of a tough nut to crack. Similar, again, I seem to be repeating myself, but similar in all 3 sides. I think again it's the quality I think is going to do them. But again, if anyone knows how to they've got mostly the core of the team. It's always a good thing when you go up. Obviously, you've got someone they've still got the kind of championship defence, so it might be getting you used to. But I think if they can get used to it, and obviously, I think if they get a couple of early wins and kind of keep the like similar to Sunderland, get a momentum going, I think they will be up there. But I just think I think it's like I don't want to stay obvious, but it's just go for it. I just don't see where the goals are going to come from all three of these sides. I think their style of play is going to either be found out quite quickly, or they don't have not very diverse. Again, I might be wrong. Obviously, Sunderland perfect template for any side that wants to stay up is basically be solid defence. We have really attacking wingers, but I don't know if that you can use that idea twice. So I think they're all going to go down, but it's one of those predictions that most of these predictions. Hope I'm wrong with this one, because basically I think, you don't like all of my teams going up, going down. It just feels weird, in my opinion. I don't like it. I think, but obviously we've got to do a prediction. It's a safe prediction because it's been most people's predictions for the last 3 seasons, so it's a bit boring in that sense. But I don't see anybody else that really looks like that wouldn't have the quality enough to stay up. So yeah, I think all promoted teams will go down. So yes, let's go into my number 4. What I think my next one is, and that is that I think Newcastle and Fulham are going to struggle a lot this season. Yes, obviously it's been a lot of change from both clubs. Obviously Newcastle have lost literally the entire spine of their team. Obviously their manager Eddie Howe left. You've obviously got Gordon left. Bruno Girovic, if I pronounced that correctly, and obviously Tolo, I think I pronounced that correctly. They've all left the club in a very strange kind of mass exodus that I haven't seen. And obviously Isak left last summer, so it's all a new rebuild, and obviously got a new manager in from Saudi Arabia. It has a good track record, I think. He's won 2 Asian Champions League. That again, I'm not saying that you should never scuff at that. So it's definitely a interesting appointment. It could be a surprise that obviously he's either going to be absolutely without his depth, or he's going to be this like masterclass of an appointment and make Newcastle taking the next level. I don't know, but I don't see it. You don't seem to have that kind of depth that you would expect. So I think they're going to be like 16th, 15th, 16th. They're going to struggle, I think, because I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. Because obviously they've lost their primary source of distribution and obviously goals. I mean, they struggled last season a bit, but way more now because obviously Golden was getting them, and obviously he's left. So it's interesting to see what's happened in Newcastle. Obviously Fulham, same thing with Silva. Obviously been there for so many years, done a really impressive job there, keeping them stability, playing some good stuff. They're really pushing for them European spaces at one point. He left to go to I think Benfica back in Portugal. So obviously a lot of change though. Obviously a lot of big ones. Obviously Real was their top scorer. He went back to Wolves, and obviously Howard Wilson went to Leeds, one of their rivals. Interesting choices. Obviously they've definitely bought a lot of youth. I've got Avaloa. Obviously, if I pronounced that correctly, the former, obviously, Liverpool defender, and obviously he was briefly had a stint as Real Madrid manager when Xabi Alonso got sacked. But it's interesting. It's one of those again similar to Newcastle. See, it's going to be one hell of a freaking appointment, or it's going to be what you do in Fulham. But I'm putting them as 17th. I mean, it's a bit of a harsh statement, and it is. But I think it's just because you always have that feeling when a team's like halfway and then new change, lost kind of their spine, where the goal is going to come from. Then they put a lot of thing on youth. Usually, it's either going to be genius or it's going to go. So I think it's going to be a struggle. Again, these two teams don't really want to struggle because I do like Fulham and I do like, in a way, Newcastle. And I don't want them to be like, Newcastle are a massive club and they should be up there. I'm just saying. But so hopefully I'm wrong with this one. Hopefully. But yeah, I just don't see it's going to be a struggle for them both. I think 17th and 15th is probably really harsh, but I think it just wanted to put across that, the struggles that I think these two teams are going to have this season. But they're not, to be fair, they're not the only teams I think as well. Obviously, we got, was it Sunderland? I think they struggled with their European commitments. I think Crystal Palace, obviously new manager as well, lost their spine defensively, and obviously probably going to be new managers. So that'd be interesting if they transition can do well. Nottingham Forest has got a new manager, obviously with the former Palace manager joining them. So I think it's going to be a lot of clusters of teams down there that are going to really struggle. So I put Fulham and Newcastle in a big two, but I think it's not just going to be them. I think a lot of teams there's so much change going around by managers, rotation, big players leaving, a lot of transitional in this league this season. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, I think them two stand out for me anyway. So, but yeah, obviously then we go into my number three. Probably would be probably mixes into probably number two and number one really. But yeah, number three obviously Chelsea. Obviously under the new manager of Xabi Alonso, who joined after being sacked by Real Madrid, his first season in as a full manager in the Premier League, and yeah, they made some really good signings. Obviously, I think the big one is obviously Morgan Rogers from Villa for 117 million pounds. That's over the top when it comes to pricing, but um, I think that's a good signing for him. You could also say, is it purpose? But I think the big one for them is Lacroix from Crystal Palace down. That is a signing I think is really going to be. Definitely, it's a part of Chelsea that they've been struggling with for a long time. Obviously, and I think they've finally got a defender that's got quality. They've got presence, and definitely is obviously he's past 25, so he's actually got some. First time in a long time they've actually signed a player that's not over like under 25 or something. So it's interesting with Chelsea. Obviously, a lot of big signings. I think obviously the big one, obviously, I think as my friend I got from on my podcast, a lot of Chelsea fans, and there's definitely the goalkeeping situation is definitely a thing they need to get sorted. And yeah, I think obviously that left hand side, but obviously Cucurella leaving to go to Real Madrid. It's kind of that feeling he was, especially in the World Cup Spain, that quality is going to be hard to replace. But if he gets Cole Palmer, João Pedro and Rogers firing in that front three, then it's got potential to be probably one of the top strike forces in the Premier League, and definitely could catapult them if they get it right into possibly challenging for the league. But obviously that's not get too carried away. But yeah, I think they've still got some work to do, but I think they've made some impressive signings, Chelsea. The new manager, new ideas. Obviously, don't have European football. Obviously, they've got a lot of squads to get rid of that as well. But yeah, so that might be enough to kind of have time to embed his kind of style. And then obviously, if you can get it, and obviously it might be too. But yeah, one to watch. Definitely a team that I'm hoping I won with this one because obviously as a Liverpool fan. But yeah, got to respect that they've made some good signings. They've made some really good signings, and I'm really excited to see if it works out for them, because I do like Xabi Alonso, even if it is for Chelsea. I do like him as a manager, and he started playing and he's kind of quality. So that's with Liverpool. So I would like to see. I don't want him to be like a one team club wonder. Like he's done it once with a good season with Bayer Leverkusen, and then that's it. I want him to be this turn into world class manager that we know, as many people that watch football know that he had the qualities that he has. We want that kind of manager. So yeah, I'm up for that. So interested to see what happens there. Obviously, number two, obviously would be for me who's going to challenge Arsenal. Obviously, number one's going to be Arsenal, but we'll quickly go into talking about obviously the other challenges. We just talked about Chelsea. I think obviously big changes, except for Arsenal. There's basically every team in the top six has a new manager. Obviously, you've got the big one. Obviously, Chelsea, was it Man City, have got a new manager with Pep Guardiola leaving, and obviously Maresca joining after his exit in Chelsea. And yeah, a lot of change. Obviously, new manager. Obviously, Rodri leaving to go to Barcelona is a massive one. Obviously, finally on his contract. Obviously, Elliot Anderson coming in for a staggering £160 million. So yeah, obviously I think I've still got the quality there. I think it's interesting to see if his style can translate well to this Pep Guardiola side. I think they do because it's very similar. So the transition shouldn't be too hard for them. But obviously, that Community Shield defeat puts a bit of doubt, a little bit for Man City there. But it'd be interesting to see what happens that one. But yes, obviously City are going to be up there. Obviously, we'll talk about obviously Man United are definitely. You got the Carrick. Was it Carrick? Obviously now full-time manager. Obviously got a job after a really impressive end of the season for Man United. But they've made some good signings. I mean, obviously, I think there was it Tielemans from Aston Villa was a bit of a shock, but really a necessary signing for them in the midfield. Definitely, it's been a problem for a long time that need that quality. And obviously, they're going after that Brighton youngster they tried to go last summer, and looks like that deal's coming through. So they're going to have a really impressive kind of finally some really depth in that midfield area, especially with Champions League. It makes sense. So obviously, the strike force too pretty good. I mean, it's still one of the best last season, the back end anyway. Obviously, the thing I would say that probably wise me for Man United fans, obviously defensively, they still look a bit bare in that department. And especially maybe in them wide and then full-back positions. I would say maybe get one another good keeper in. Obviously, I think I like Lemons. I think he done really well. I think it's because Man United have been so used to rubbish keepers or such cataclysmic keepers. I think they were absolutely starstruck. They've actually got an actual keeper that's just good. I'm not saying he's world class, but he's just good. He's solid. He's dependable. And sometimes maybe they have to update. Maybe you have to upgrade him. Obviously, if you want to build up to become like challengers as Man United obviously want to be. But for the moment, it works because I think he's you don't need to worry about him making mistakes like previous keepers for Man United. So, but I think they're making the right moves. Obviously, with Champions League, it'd be interesting to see if Carrick. The big question I come from this is the idea of was it a was it a new manager bounce at the end of last season, or was he actually the foundations there to build maybe a Man United that actually is going to be competitive in this Premier League and possibly get a title? We don't know. I think it's one of the situations. Obviously, Man United fans would love it not to be. Purely for the fact, I think they've had enough of these kind of false dawns. It was nice last season for them, but obviously they were a club that wants to win titles, so it makes sense. But it'd be interesting to see with that one, and obviously the big one, obviously Liverpool. As a Liverpool fan, yeah, all changed. Obviously, Arne Slot sacked it in season. I think was an interest. I think change was needed because obviously there was such a lot of doom and gloom around the club after that pretty awful season that had so much promise but didn't deliver in any way. Especially in the last couple of games with how bad we played. So it was interesting to see what happened there. But obviously, Iola, the former Bournemouth manager's come in. Obviously, there's still question marks over if he can do it because obviously it's a big jump for him from Bournemouth to Liverpool, massive club like that. Obviously, he's definitely from evidence from obviously what's a couple of pre-season games. Liverpool definitely have that seem like they're slowly getting their identity back. A couple of youngsters look impressive. Also, it looks like is it Verts and Isak are starting to click. And I think it's what I've heard. Verts is going to play a bit more of was it instead of him being like kind of a number 10 roaming, seems like he's going to be very, very kind of like a shadow striker or just behind Isak. That should be interesting, and I'm actually kind of excited to see how that works out. Obviously, was it Szoboszlai's been absolutely immense in pre-season. He's definitely been put in that kind of midfield too. Definitely might not need maybe need number 6, but I think if you're going to keep someone there, he'll do the job. Obviously, wide players looking good. I mean, defensively we look all right a bit more now after 2 signings brought in. Obviously, youngster from France, and obviously, yeah, like it's a bit more sure. It's not perfect, but it will do. I think it's there. I think it's Bicola is the big one. I think if we can get him in, there seems to be more traction every time. I've been saying this probably. If we can get him in, obviously that's the pressing machine. That's definitely going to be helping with our press, and obviously his ability to play on both wings. And obviously, I think we're going for that Brighton winger. Maybe if we don't go for the other PSG, because obviously the money's too much. So maybe you might be able to get him. If we can get those 2 in, I think maybe an opportunity to get another midfielder in, possibly if the opportunity arises. I think we're gonna do better than people expected. I'm just saying. Do I think we're gonna challenge for the title? I don't know. I don't want to because last team I put them to win it, and then obviously we all know what happened there. I predicted to put us 3rd. I mean, a lot of people put us 6th. That I think's way harsh. But yeah, I think 3rd would be if he can get consistent Champions League football, get the identity back at Liverpool, and get maybe some of these players, getting going. The big names of the big summers, the big kind of price tag players like Verts and Isak, and get Liverpool playing some fantastic stuff at times. I think a lot of Liverpool fans would be very, very happy with that. Obviously, win the big title, Premier League, Champions League, we love that. But I think there's more. I think there's more more credit in the bank. I think Riola, because obviously saying the right things, he seems to have the style of football that Liverpool fans will like. I think we might have a bit more time, but I don't know. But I hope it works because I really want it because obviously if he plays anything like the Bournemouth side, they play some really amazing football. So hopefully if we get any of that, I'll be a happy camper. But I think it'd be a step too far. But again, we thought that over on the slot, and obviously we see what we done there. But I think there's a bit too much change going on for that to happen again. But you never know. But obviously, we're number 1, the big prediction, and probably not really a prediction. Probably, and probably everyone's gone for, unless you want to be bold, and that is obviously Arsenal probably are going to win the league. They're the only team, the hardest team to beat. Obviously, they've had. They're the only team at top 6, as we said, that hasn't lost their manager. Obviously, Mikel Arteta has a perfect opportunity with Pep leaving to kind of maybe solidify Arsenal as the team to beat and maybe get back-to-back Premier League titles for the first time in Premier League history anyway. It's Arsenal have never done it. So, but they've made some good strides. I mean, I think they've got Bruno Guimaraes, if I pronounced that correctly, from Newcastle for that's a midfield problem because obviously Rice put a bit less burden on Rice because obviously he was getting a bit, obviously, especially with how a lot of players I think are going to be taking time to get back after that grueling World Cup schedule. Obviously they've got good they put some good defensive reinforcements. Obviously I think Kwanzaa, not the one for Bayer Leverkusen, but the Aston Villa one. Again, that would be a massive sign. That's a great sign, I think, because he's solid, dependable, especially with Saliba being out for a long time. With that, was it back injury? He's going to be out for a while, so that'd be the thing. Obviously, I think Arsenal, I guess, would be like a good season for them. Obviously, be defend their title, maybe get a Champions League out there because obviously they were so close to getting the Champions League and Premier League double last season. But they've made good strides. I think was he changing in the kind of in the set piece or the corners rules means there'd be a bit less. They might have to change up because obviously the thing about Arsenal is they won the league obviously, but I think they won the league because they're just very good at set pieces. The outfield play isn't as good as it should be. Hopefully that changes with the distribution of Givaeus. Hopefully we give them that kind of unlocking ability that they can get maybe goals in open place. They're relying on set pieces, but it'd be interesting to see because obviously now they've now, as we've seen many times with Arsenal and obviously Liverpool sometimes, it's easy to be the team chasing, but can they handle the pressure of being the team chased when they're the top dogs? It's obviously the question everyone's asking. Obviously, there's a lot of confident talk coming out of Arsenal at the moment with them really wanting to basically win everything. As much as it irritates a lot of people because of Arsenal and that kind of club, you can't deny that. Why not have confidence? They've won the Premier League and they won it comfortably last season. Let's be honest, maybe a little bit dips, but not really. City never really pushed it to the point where they really made them worry. And obviously, a lot of teams having transitionals. Again, it's similar, perfect season, perfect chance for them to get a double. But then I said that last season. And obviously we saw it happen now. I don't think it's going to have any collapse like that because there's too much change. They've done what they should do is keep the core of what made them great and just added a little bit of quality as it should be. Very Sir Alex level. So with that, I think they're going to possibly. I think it'd be interesting to see who really challenges them, really. So it'd be interesting in that department. But I think Arsenal's team to beat. But I think I put City. Look, I think a lot of people talk about maybe Chelsea might be up there. I think obviously I don't think Liverpool will put Liverpool. I mean, even I would love to see it. So we'll definitely see if we can get our title back. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, that's my kind of like 5, maybe 4 or 5 predictions for going into the season that starts tonight against Arsenal. Defending their first game on a Friday night against Coventry. I can't wait to see this Coventry side. Very excited. As much as said they might go down, I still wish them. I want to see how they play. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you think Arsenal? Do you think I'm talking a lot of rubbish? Do you think Arsenal are going to win the league? Who do you think is going to challenge them? Who do you think's going to? Do you think Newcastle and Fulham's unfair? And do you think the promoted team's going down? Is that a bit harsh? Or do you think who would you pick to go down this season? Please let me know in the comments below, and obviously let me know on many other things on the on Spotify, and I'll put this on my own personal YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Stuart Vaughan TV. Definitely trying to build that up as well. So check that out as well. Go on Substack as well because obviously the Football Unplugged, definitely building a really fun community, and it's really cool people. If you want a kind of refreshing, good chat about football, definitely go and check that out. Substack again, link down below. I'm going to be tons of links down below there. Definitely check it out. So I can't wait for the season to start. Obviously Liverpool got Newcastle. Can't wait out on Sunday. Definitely going to watch the game tonight, and it's going to be an interesting and fun season. Hopefully for Liverpool it's better than it was, but it was a pretty fun season overall for game quality as a neutral. So hopefully we get more of that this season and more shock surprises and all kinds of lovely stuff. So hopefully we get some more of that. So without further ado, I've been Stuart Vaughan. This has been the Football Unplugged podcast, and I'll be back next week to probably look over what happened in the first weekend of the Premier League. It's going to be good. So until then, have a good weekend and see you then. All right, bye everyone. Bye.